Hi, I'm here to read off the presentation questions. 1 through 8. Which of your presentations did you feel was the best and why? I just recorded this video, but I lost it, which is the first time that's ever happened. Um, so I'm repeating everything that I just said, but the first video, I think I did, oh no, it would be the second video, which was the how to change a diaper. I thought I did the best on that video because I knew the information so well. I mean, it's something that I do every day. So I didn't really have to backtrack anything or relearn anything. I could just kind of, present it the way I knew it, and it all flowed really well. I thought the whole video did. Number 2, which presentation would you redo if you were given the chance and why? I think actually the first video I would redo. It was just an introduction video, but I didn't really prepare for it because it was just an introduction video. But I feel like no matter what video you're doing, you should always be a little bit prepared. And I think if I would have been more prepared, I maybe would have said things more confidently and better. Number 3, what are 2 things you learned about presenting to an audience, and why do you feel they're important? I just recently said that I think making eye contact, number 1, is really important because if you're not connecting with your audience, you're not going to deliver the message that you want to get across. People are going to get bored and they're going to lose interest and not hear you, so your entire speech will be ruined that way. And number 2, I think, would be knowing the information that you're going to be presenting. Just like if you're in choir or in a band, you need to know that music as soon as you step out on stage. Otherwise, you're going to be fumbling around and you're not going to be entertaining the crowd the way you should. Same thing for a speech. You need to know what you want to say, have it be clear. Don't be, waiting to the last minute to try to throw out facts or random ideas that don't tie together. Like, it needs to be very closely knit, and it needs to be tight, and everything, just needs to be basically well known. Like, you just need to know the information. Number 4, what's one piece of advice you give people regarding presentation visuals? I think I'd say make sure the visuals are, simply put, visual. Make sure your audience is able to see, what it is you want them to see. Like, if it's a text, make sure it's big enough so they can read it from wherever they're sitting. Just make sure it's not interfering with you in any way, because that would just distract your speech and it wouldn't benefit you. Number 5, what's one piece of advice you'd give to others on dealing with nervousness? I've always struggled with presenting presentations in front of audiences. I think this way it's not as hard for me because it's a little less impersonal, so it's not as nerve-wracking. But I know when I first joined choir and we had our performances, which were just a few weeks ago, I was pretty nervous, and I always get nervous in front of crowds. But the thing that helped me is literally just like pep talking myself through it and telling myself that I have the confidence that it takes to do it, and saying to myself over and over again, you are going to be able to get through this. You can get through it. It's not a big deal. Like, I just had to repeat that over and over again, and I would just look at the crowd and I'd say, they're just people. There's not much of a difference when you're talking to one person in comparison to 40 to 60. I mean, there's no difference. It's just a person. They're just people. So I think putting that into perspective can help you with nervousness. Number 6, give one piece of wisdom on using a webcam for school and professional communications, other than smash it with a hammer. I didn't really use like a separate webcam. I just used my built-in webcam on my laptop, so I didn't really need to figure anything out there. I think as far as like uploading it to Blackboard, that's something I had to learn, and I also had to learn how to use the YouTube account. I think just make sure you follow prompts correctly and don't be afraid to just read directions. I know that when you get something like you buy from a store and you have to set it up, the first thing you want to do is throw away the directions because you think you can handle it. But really, it helps just to take the time to skim over the directions and know what you're doing so you don't mess anything up or lose a video because it just wastes time. Question number 7. What was one lesson you learned from the singing pig assignments, and how might it be useful in your professional life? One thing I learned about the singing pig assignments, I'm moving this camera a little, is that I've dealt with that a lot this year as far as people, working with people that are kind of difficult to get along with. And I always kind of took those situations personally. And through this assignment, I learned not to do that. And I also learned that you cannot change those type of people. And it's true, you can't. There's nothing you can say or do or argue to change them in the situation. So I think your best bet when dealing with people that are really hard to get along with in the workplace is to be professional about it, be mature, don't take anything personally, don't try to stir up the situation even worse and getting emotional. Don't let emotions get in the way of anything, and brush it off. That's like the number one thing I can say. I mean, I know there's always going to be hostility, and I mean, it really depends on the situation because some situations are worse than others. Like if there's verbal abuse, then that's bad. That's totally different. But if it's just, you're working with somebody that isn't comfortable to be around or doesn't communicate well, or is kind of negative, it's hard to work with those type of people, but you really just need to be mature about it and kind of let it go sometimes. Number 8, finally, what's one thing you'd like to work on regarding oral interpersonal communications in your personal life? I think I'm good at being social, and I'm definitely good at being social on a one-to-one basis. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. But I think I'm always going to have to work on not being so afraid of giving speeches and doing presentations. I think I often get really, really scared because I don't have that confidence, which I was talking about earlier. I always think, like, what if I mess up, or what if I don't say things the right way, or what if I forget information? And those are all negative things. I'm not giving myself any credit for the hard work I've done, or telling myself I'm going to be okay. And just knowing that I know the information, I always have doubts, and that's not a good thing. So I've definitely been working on that confidence, and I think that's something that I'm going to be working on, honestly, my entire life. And this class has kind of taught me that, it's not easy, and everybody, I think like 90% of people get nervous. I mean, if you're the lucky 10% like you, Anna, you lucked out, and, you should be literally praising yourself for the fact that you never feel nervous that way, because when you do, it's a really heavy burden, especially when you're musically inclined, or you are working in a job setting where you constantly have to be giving presentations, and that kind of stuff is like, your worst nightmare. But in reality, I think this class has taught me it doesn't need to be. And it is a choice. You can change that nervousness if you work on having confidence, I think. So that will be the end. I read 1 through 8. And I'd just like to say I had a good semester, and thank you, Anna, for being cooperative with me and being a good teacher. I hope you have a good end of the semester and a good summer. Okay, bye.